when you think about something a lot, it's like you are like setting the angle, of the ship, to that, like the direction to take,
Yeah.
and when you're doing the work, you're actually like going, right? So if, I think Seneca said, if you don't know where to which port you're sailing, no wind is favorable, so you have to like really understand, and I think this is a continuous exercise, as you are stumble upon newer opportunities, new opportunities, and you have to always like reframe it as like what's the best direction, and then execute there, but if you are not, you don't really see that direction very well, and you just execute like crazy, you probably won't get anywhere, if you weren't in the right direction in the first place.
Okay, so now that we've covered like some interesting topics already, and also Monish Favrai and all those great people that we can learn from, I wanted to ask you, are you actually investing? Do you actually take it seriously now, or was it something? Is it something you're still like thinking about?
I think investing, I was very, very into investing, probably as a result of the incredible bull market from, March 2020 until end 2021, because I just started investing after the pandemic, so I was like, any decision that I took, I was like, wow, I'm such a genius, man. I think I was born to be an investor, so that kind of like reinforced me, and to keep, researching about it, but of course, after researching enough, I realized that, it's just a bull market, it's not that I have an incredible skill or anything like that. And then when I started to be like the only on the YouTube, and nothing else, because I used to work in insurance, but then I actually didn't like at all like to work there, and so now I'm just doing YouTube. So now I can actually invest in more, let's say, entrepreneurial things, because at the end of the day, the idea behind investing, it's always like, are you buying other people's assets or are you building your own assets, right?
Right.
So the kind of like the my idea kind of like or philosophy kind of like switch. Now I want to put money on to assets that I personally built. Because I think and when you don't have that much money, I think it's better to put the money to with your work, right, to create your own like, assets instead of buying other people's assets. And I probably will get again into investing in other people's assets when if and ever I achieve way more like wealth, and I don't see many places or ways to reinvest it in my own business and as a way to diversify, on assets, right? So it's not only all the eggs on my business, but I also have, a little bit, a lot of, like Bill Gates, he sold a lot of, once he, achieved a lot of success with Microsoft, he sold, a lot of his stake, to put it into Berkshire and put it into other places. And so he has a kind of like a portfolio with a lot of different stocks, to diversify the risk. But now my focus is just to build it on my own kind of assets. Also, I find it more fun,
Okay.
Because I'm kind of like the one executing and taking action. And like I'm, buying this, I don't know, whatever I need, resource that I need. And then I apply, my execution and all that, which I find it like maybe more fun, than the investing, which is only like theoretical, like research, and then putting your money on, on a company that you don't control so that other people execute, And I think it's fun to execute, and I think I would not like to execute if there's more people around.
Right.
I love to work on my own, not with like other people like in a team or anything like that. Like I love to have to be like in a community,
Mm-hmm.
but just to like socially talk, and share experiences, but not to execute on the same team. I love to execute on my own, and so I love that kind of thing. So that's why I want to put the money into, let's say, myself or my own assets, instead of putting it in somewhere else. Yeah.
Okay.
Now that I have the energy to actually go and execute stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
So two follow-ups. First, but I'll take one at each time. So, are you completely out of investing in other companies? Did you took like all the money out?
No, 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 no. So I had maybe around 8,000 euros, something like that, invested in companies. Now I think I still have maybe around 5,000, 6,000 somewhere in some stocks.
Mm-hmm.
And I've just kept it there because also I don't have like this. I see it as maybe an alternative to the cash. I guess it shouldn't be an alternative to the cash, but I don't intend to use this money like in
Right.
a lot of years. I don't really need that money for probably 3 years, 4 years. I don't know. So I prefer to have it in companies that I love, and that I already did the research before investing in these companies. So, following the advice of Charlie Munger of to not interrupt the compounding,
Right.
I don't want to interrupt the compounding and leave it there, and then if I eventually need the money or I find a better investing opportunity, I will take it out.
Mm-hmm.
But for instance, for what I'm doing now, the YouTube channel, it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't really need too much reinvesting because it's
Right.
all like digital, unless I want to make like a store of something or something like that. But so far, the only thing I'm investing in the business quote unquote, is just a new laptop, a
Okay.
microphone, a camera, And so the moment that I find, good reinvesting opportunities for my own asset, then I will probably take it away from there. But for the time being, I have no issue, leaving it there.
Mm,
Yeah,
that's
so
great.
it's all opportunity cost. Just see your set of opportunities. And it's like if you find a better opportunity, you sell, the other stuff, and you put it there, in a
Yeah.
diversified way, But it's better opportunities, you change, And so when I see a better opportunity, for sure I will take it out, yeah.
Mm.
But for the time being, I just leave it there. Yeah. No.
That make me think, because like I used to be super invested into sneakers. So I actually made
To what?
some sneakers,
Sneakers?
sneakers. Yeah. Uh
Sneakers.
I understood a lot, and I made some good flips, let's say. Uh but
Okay.
then I kind of switched full on to investing. And now that I'm
Yeah.
thinking, maybe once I finish, it's not like you reach someday and you finish your research, but once I feel like I researched enough about some businesses I
Yeah.
like and I want to put some money in, maybe I'll return more intensely to sneakers, because I actually made some very good returns, and it was real assets, and I understood the business well, and also it was very quick flips, so very low risk. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
maybe I'll get into that again with some, yeah, in some time.
Yeah.
But anyways, the other question I wanted to make you is so now basically you are full-time YouTuber.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
That's nice. And what has changed since you quit your job, let's say?
So that's well, actually, I've been like first I started with an internship when I finished my master's degree,
Mm-hmm.
and when I started working, I realized that I was not going to be the happiest person being an employee, or that culture of the corporation and working with other people. I knew like from day one that I needed to make a plan to get out of there. So,
Okay.
and when I finished my internship, I finished it, and then I started working in that same company. But then I didn't want to continue there. So I just lasted like 3 months, and at that time I was also making some money with YouTube. I
Mm-hmm.
think it was like for those same months that I was in the insurance company, I was doing with the YouTube like 1,200 per month
Oh,
from the videos. But then when I finished at the company, I started declining a lot, and then I also had the plan to be like a freelance data analyst.
okay. Yeah.
And so I also at that time I was like studying, on a lot of like data analysis techniques and programs and software. But then I had this idea of only focusing on the YouTube channel for some like 3 months, 4 months, because I realized that I was like splitting a lot my energy
Mm.
and between these two things, right? Between the analytics and the YouTube. So I wanted to put all my energy into one thing.
Mm.
And so I wanted to give it a go like that. And then it started to do way better. Like in November and December, it made like $10,000,
Mm-hmm.
the YouTube channel. And so on average, I think it was like 1,600 per month, which was something similar to the insurance because I was like entry level and they were paying me
Right.
like shit there. So at least for Spanish standards, which is
Yeah.
actually already pretty low, just like Portugal, I guess, is
Yeah.
the lowest
Portugal.
in Europe.
Portugal. I think it's
So
kind
no, it's
of
better.
lower. No, lower than that.
Really?
So
Okay.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I just took the risk, man, to do to see how it goes like this, and then yeah, I mean, there's uncertainty, but I feel like it's the best time. I think it's gonna be harder if I try to do it in the future.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Man, I admire
so
you a lot for that, because a lot of people. I'm currently reading this wonderful book, which maybe you don't want to read, but at least give it a look someday. Which I think it goes like this: The Five Regrets of the Dying. I don't know who recommended it to me, but basically, people regret because of things they did too late, or they just decided to switch paths too late. Or really worked on something they didn't like, and it's so admirable that you actually had the courage to switch like so early in life. And I feel like that's gonna be, I can't say for certain, but that's gonna be a huge advantage you have upon others, because others are already in like the rat's race,
for
racing.
sure, yeah, and yeah, I attribute it all to the that I think I was very lucky to find all these people that teach
Mm,
me actually what's the best way to live your life and what you are probably going to regret when you're older and all these kind of ideas.
mm, mm.
So I think I was very lucky
Stumble upon it.
to discover to stumble upon these ideas,
Mm.
and also I attribute it to the curiosity, to
Right.
be curious about everything, and and if something really cuts your attention, you want to go deep there, you know, and research on it. But yeah, if it wasn't because of that, I would be probably, yeah, working in some company or something like that.
Mm.
Yeah, and probably playing some, you know, status games or some
Yeah.
buying, yeah, stupid things, you know, just to so that my parents are proud of me, or friends are like quote unquote validating. But I feel also, even though that's probably to some extent truth, because you know the society is kind of like is structuring these kind of like status games.
Mm-hmm.
It, like, on top of that, it's kind of like this thing that this guy, which is also very insightful, Sahil Bloom, he has
Yeah, yeah,
this
yeah.
newsletter, the
I like
Curiosity
him.
Chronicle thing, yeah, and he talks about this thing that he calls the spotlight effect. You know,
Uh-huh.
that you think that other people is thinking about you like a, like much more than they're actually doing. You know,
Right. Yeah.
so you think that you are in a spotlight. You know that right now
Yeah.
everybody's thinking about, oh, what's your status position or whatever. You know,
And no one
so
cares.
yeah, exactly, and that even puts more pressure. You know, because it's true, there's like these status gains, but then with that spotlight effect, it's kind of like you put even more pressure on those like status games, you know. So it's,
Mm.
and it's so like, when I don't know, like you do anything, you go for any activity, and you see, you know, marketing campaigns, whatever, it's very like subtle but
Yeah.
insidious, is because it kind of like gets in your subconscious, you know, these status things, you know,
Yeah.
because I don't know, like for instance, marketing, you know, of a liquor, you know, and how there's a very beautiful woman,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone is
Yeah.
happy and everyone is celebrating some kind of external success or whatever. And it's like you see it and you don't even like think about it. You don't try to debunk it
Mm-hmm.
to the logical
You just
conclusions.
assume it's
You
true.
stay, you just, yeah, you just like take it and just see it, and wow, that's cool, and you don't think about it. So that kind of builds your subconscious, and then, you know, when you think about the status games, you are like, and probably you think that you are not playing them, or not playing them as much, but then when when you act subconsciously or by default, I think that we tend to not even like realize, and we are just playing it, you know,
Mm.
these kind of things. Yeah,
Yeah.
until you step back, you know, and see it
Yeah.
from
That's
another
that's
place. Yeah,
that's crazy, man. Like, and also like I feel I
it's
always
ridiculous.
find myself like kind of I just know that some of the things society and the usual path that people take is just some made up rule that someone invented, like, okay, you have to go to school, then go to do your bachelor's, then your master's, then maybe do a PhD, and yeah, those kind of things. Like
Yeah,
I know that there are some of it are just bullshit, but still, for example, in school, in my case, I'm
yeah.
still in school. So
That
like,
was the second worst like time of my life. I think the
okay,
first worst was the company. The second worst was high school.
yeah,
Then college was very cool, and now and then it's even cooler, you know, because it's like
yeah,
you go into freedom, restrictions of freedom. Okay, corporate job is like you're restricted,
from
completely
everything.
restricted. Then it's high school, you are restricted because you have to go every day, whatever.
Yeah.
College, you can go to the exams, and then some classes you need to go, whatever. But there's like
Hmm.
way more freedom. And then if you're, I don't know, freelancer or whatever, you have way like more freedom, you know. So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, I think like, for me, it's like freedom equals a lot of like happiness, you know, for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
Yeah.
what were you saying about high school?
Yeah. I was saying like I I just know in myself that it's all bullshit. Like I'm not learning anything. Like some of the mental
Yeah.
models are kind of useful because I'm in physics. So, this equilibrium formula actually makes sense in life. Like, the equations like
Yeah.
always tend to go between the balance and those kind of things. Like, I like to take those ideas to other stuff, but at the same time, I know that the opportunity cost that I'm taking into investing so much time in having good grades and stuff, I could be applying it to somewhere else. But
Mm.
I still, um, I know it, I know that, but still, since I'm kind of forced to do it because I can I'm not in the position to like do like yourself, because like once you are an adult and like you can
Yeah.
take your own choices, your own choices have the consequences and you take the consequences as they come. But right now it's
Yeah.
not really my choice, so my approach
Yeah.
to it, it's like, since I'm
Stoic approach.
yeah, since I have to do this, I'll just do it in the best way I can. So
Mm.
kind of turn it into a fun thing. So I kind of study in a game like fashion, and also I try to get good grades, uh, because I have, like, since I have to go to school, I might just do it well. And once I get the ability to choose for myself, then I would like to take like a path similar to yours, or at least one that enables me to really think for myself. Because one of the things when you are in the rat's race and you are in a corporate job and all those things, is that even if you want to think for yourself, it's just subconscious, man. Like you said, it's just built in. Uh, so
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
if you agree.
And it's not even like one of the values I think in most corporate jobs that you think for yourself.
Yeah, you
You just
think.
have to follow what they say, and that's it. Basically, you are like a machine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
you.
I guess for in most instances,
Yeah, yeah.
I guess
Obviously.
yeah. I guess in a startup or other kind of like more creative or technology thing would be different, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe, yeah, in most cases it's kind of like that. It's so like rigid and so like soul and crushing. I don't know, at least for me, because I love to like think, and reflect and wonder why this is like this. If someone tells me to do something, I always ask like why, or then I propose a better way to do it. And I believe in a lot of places that's not something that is not considered an asset,
Right.
but I suppose it's probably considered something that delays stuff, because
Mm-hmm.
if someone is always asking, yeah, why do you do this way, why, like you never get probably in
Because you
their
can't
minds, you
quantify.
never get anything done. Yeah, you cannot really like quantify, yeah,
You can't
and probably like
quantify.
you,
Yeah.
yeah, you delay it on the short term, but maybe in
Mm-hmm.
the long term would be better always to ask why, and reframe things in the long term. But what matters is like in a lot of like big corporate places is like what you can produce in a week, in 1 month, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That also comes to something that I recently listened Warren say, which was like, um, he was being interviewed and they asked like uh, how he spends time thinking, and he said like, okay, it's sometimes I spend the whole evening thinking about some business problem or something, or why something is done in a certain way,
Yeah.
and maybe that looks so unproductive, but on the long term is just the most productive thing you can do, because like,
For sure.
if you
Yeah.
never stop to really think how you want to do things and why you should do them, and really stop and reflect upon things, then you'll just live in autopilot and just do things because this is what you should do, like.
Yeah, and I think this is the dichotomy of hard work and the opposite of hard work, right? Or
Yeah,
just reading, thinking, you know. I think you really have to be in
committed.
half of
Yeah,
that. You have to, like, I mean, I guess depends what we call work, right? Like in
really.
my head, it's kind of like the execution side, you know. And for instance, the way I do it is like I execute, like for instance, make the videos or make the blog posts, like I don't know, 5 days a week, and then the 2 days only for thinking, and then on those 5 days, I'm probably executing 5 hours per day,
Hmm. Hmm.
five, no more than 5 hours, or sometimes maybe 6 hours, and some days 4 hours, and the rest I read, I watch a lot of content, and then I think and this kind of thing, you know. And also I think even like on what I'm executing and if it's really worth it, what I'm
Hmm.
doing. And then if I realize that what I'm doing at that moment maybe it's not the best thing, I just throw it away, you know, and start a new
Hmm.
thing, you know.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah,
also was some recent discovery for me, because like I think it was Sahil Bloom that said you have to define what's a productive day for you,
yeah,
because otherwise you'll just always feel like it wasn't productive. And so I kind of understood that I have this bias of like before I used to think, oh, okay, a productive day is if I finish all my assignment, I do 100 exercise math exercises, I read 100 pages of my book, so all in numbers, but
yeah,
real progress is a mix of numbers. It's what you said, like it's a mix of numbers and things that you can't quantify are not scalable. So really stopping to ask if I really understand this problem, or maybe you may spend like 1 hour like you did today, understanding the banking
yeah,
meltdown and stuff. And if you spend like 1 hour in one problem, maybe it's much more productive on the long term and leads to better results than like doing 10
yeah, yeah,
exercises
yeah, yeah.
just on autopilot. Like, okay, this is
Yeah,
this.
it's kind
So,
of like, yeah, when you think about something a lot, it's like you are kind of like setting the angle, you know, of the ship, you know, to that, like the direction to take, you know.
yeah.
And when you're doing the work, you're actually like going, right?
Mhm.
So if you know, I think Seneca said, you know, if you don't know where you're going, you know, and or if you don't know where you're to which port you're sailing, no wind is favorable, you know.
Mhm.
So you have to like really understand, you know, and I think this is a continuous exercise, you know, as you
Mhm.
are stumble upon new and newer opportunities, you know, new opportunities, and you have to always like reframe it and see, you know, to like what's the best direction, you know, and then you know execute there, you know. But if you are not, you don't really see that direction very well, you know, and you just execute like crazy, you know, you probably won't get anywhere, you know, if you weren't in the right direction in the first place, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's that's the shiny object syndrome that we have. Like, okay, this is shiny, I'll go for it, and then you really don't know where you're going. But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
why did you choose to be a data analyst? Like, what thing moved you to into going in that path?
To that analyst, I think it's because probably the on kind of like one of the things where I could like take my uh, like curious personality and put it somewhere in the professional world where I could apply it.
Mm-hmm.
In the case of data analysis, it's a lot about, you know, seeing the data, you know, and process the data and visualize the data, you know, and see the why of things, you know, why uh, why a certain outcome happened. You know, what's the causes, what's the cause of this outcome, and what we can change in the input, you know, in the causes, so that we get the output that we actually desire. So it's also like, so it's this thing about curiosity kind of applied to a numbers field, you know,
Mm,
because when I was in high school, I I did best at, you know, maths, physics, you know, and
right.
that was the things that I was best at, you know, and I was very bad at philosophy, history, language. You know, I
Yeah.
suck, you know, so much, man. I have to study so much for these subjects. But then for maths and physics, you know, I was doing really good. So that's why then I did chemistry, chemical engineering, and then, you know, with the investing, then I got interested in business. So I did a master's in business management.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why, you know, because I wanted to combine, you know, the business, also like the business world, with the numbers field, you know, that I did like the
Mm-hmm.
engineering and all that. So that was kind of like the connection, you know, the
Oh,
business
you're a chemical
with
engineer?
yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's so
I did
interesting.
the degree. I did the degree chemical engineering, and then business management. So it's like mixing the numbers with the business,
Yeah.
kind of like, and my curious personality.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the intersection of these things, one of the fields is data analysis. You know that, so that's
Yeah.
why. And also when I started on my internship, I did a lot of like data stuff. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so I was like, oh, okay, I will try to be, you know, niche down to this profession. You know,
Okay.
yeah,
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 that's so
that's
cool
really
and
thing.
very relatable to me because like one thing that I
Mm,
picked up from all my studying and stuff is like uh most of the investors that really succeeded don't have I don't know if this it's really true or whatever, but many of them don't have a background in finance because they teach you all these
mm,
fancy formulas in like finance degrees and stuff that really don't apply that well into the real world. So
yeah,
I kind of did a lot of
yeah.
thinking into this, and I decided that I want to go for mechanical engineering, even
Mm,
though I love business
yeah,
because that gives me like a different kind of approach to what I really want to do, which is become a full-time investor. But it's an unusual path that I feel like first of all it will be much more difficult than going into like straightforward to management or whatever because that comes easier to me like the pure math uh,
yeah,
and yeah, so I think that's going to be a good challenge for me, and also it gives
yep.
me some other mental models that maybe people that just go straight into finance don't get of how
Yeah, yeah,
the
sure.
world
That's true.
works, because like mechanical engineering is like how machines work, and at the end of the day everything is a machine.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah.
I
I
feel
think
like
it's a really
very
good decision. Yeah, it's a very good decision, I think.
man
Yeah, because it gives you that differentiation from all the people that is going on finance or economics,
mhm.
and also it gives you more, I think, more clarity of mind. You know,
Yeah.
like I think Nassim Taleb in one of his talks at Google, he's
Mhm.
shown a picture, and it was like a lot of, you know, like one of these machines that have so many cables, mix them together, a lot
Mhm.
of different colors, and everything was a mess. And he was like, the title was the mind of an economist.
Mhm.
You know, because it has, because if you're a, like economist or finance guy, you can have inconsistencies in your head,
Yeah.
and still get awards and whatever, but you cannot have inconsistencies, for instance, in physics
Right,
or
because the
engineering,
machine doesn't work.
because yeah, exactly, it will give you more clarity of mind for sure.
Man,
Yeah,
I feel like whenever I explain this to someone like that doesn't come from the same kind of school of I don't know if you can say it's school of thought that like you
yeah, we
follow.
can call it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh
definitely.
it seems so weird to explain it, but then I explain it to you and you get it right away. So it feels good.
Yeah, I mean, when you see it superficially, for sure it makes more sense. Oh, you want to work for asset management, go to
Yeah.
finance.
Yeah.
It superficially makes sense, but if you dig down to really what's going on the fields and everything, that we have discovered, it actually it's better if you don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another dissonance, I guess. Yeah.
I think so. I think so. So, uh, one, I think this is very Nassim Taleb like if you don't go for the, I think many people go into like management or stuff because they think they will actually learn how to run a business, but they will just
Yeah.
learn some accounting and how to like learn some formulas and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's like it's funny how an engineer has more business skills than someone that goes into management. It feels like
Yeah.
crazy to me, but I think that's how it works. Maybe I'll be
Well,
wrong, so I don't
no,
know,
at the
but
end of the day, if you see it from at least from an entrepreneurial and like way of seeing things, it makes sense, because engineering is about building stuff,
hmm
and building stuff is really the difficult part.
right.
And doing the marketing and promoting it, and I think it's you can, like, I don't remember who said this. I don't know if it was Andy, the guy from Dell, or
Oh
one of
yeah,
these like
Michael Dell.
very yeah, one of these person, or Andy Groove, or I really don't
I
remember,
read
but
off
one
more.
of these like yeah, one of these persons said that you can always teach a person about business and about marketing, but it's very difficult to teach him about how to think, and how to build things,
Yeah,
and the engineering mindset.
yeah.
It's always
Charlie.
teachable, the marketing and the business. The engineering, I think it's more like it's way tougher.
hmm
Yeah. So you can always add the business skills on top,
Exactly.
and then you have the engineering and you have the business skills. The business skills you can take. You already have the business skills, but you can always add more on top, and then
Yeah.
produce whatever. Yeah.